Someone scanned the Amazon with a laser and then fell silent, not because there was nothing, but because what they discovered was far too incredible. First, let's start with a number, 10,000 to 23,000. This is the number of ancient ruins estimated by scientists to be hidden beneath the dense Amazon jungle, unseen by anyone to this day, not one or two, but 10,000 to 23,000 sites. This rainforest, which we have called primitive and savage for centuries, hides an entire lost civilized world densely packed beneath its ground. And all of this was revealed to us by a single beam of laser light. This technology is called LiDAR, short for light detection and ranging. The principle isn't complicated. It fires lasers toward the ground, the light hits an object and bounces back. And by multiplying the speed of light by the time taken, the distance is calculated. By scanning an area densely, it can generate an accurate 3D topographic map. Here is the key: it can penetrate the forest canopy. The Amazon canopy is dozens of meters high, blocking out the sun, so any satellite views show nothing but a vast sheet of green. But LiDAR's lasers can slip through the gaps in the leaves to strike the ground, and then software can delete all the trees, like pressing a vegetation removal button, revealing every trench and mound beneath the ground completely naked before your eyes. When scientists flew over the Amazon with this for the first time, the operators' hands were shaking. In 2022, archaeologist Heiko Prumer's team scanned 2 cities out of an endless sea of green in the Bolivian Amazon region. Not mere relics, not ruins, but actual cities. The largest area spans 315 hectares, equivalent to more than 400 football fields, containing terraces, plazas, conical pyramid-like structures, straight causeways extending for kilometers, and canals and reservoirs distributed throughout the territory. The timeline dates back to 500 to 1400 AD, corresponding to China's Tang and Song dynasties, meaning deep within the Amazon, a city was bustling with people and functioning normally. The archaeological community fell silent for a long time because they had just disproven their own long-held beliefs. For the past several decades, academia held an almost unquestioned conclusion: the Amazon soil is extremely poor and simply cannot support large-scale agriculture. Without agriculture, there are no cities, so civilization could not possibly exist in the Amazon. This very conclusion was completely shattered at that exact moment. Even greater discoveries lay ahead. In 2024, the journal Science published a study revealing that in the Upano Valley of the Ecuadorian Amazon, scientists discovered over 6,000 man-made rectangular earth platforms and plazas connected to one another by roads, the widest measuring 13 meters across, surrounded by vast agricultural terraces and complete drainage systems. This wasn't just a lost city, it was an entire lost network of cities. Around 500 BC, at least 10,000 to 30,000 people lived here, and this civilization existed continuously for nearly 1,000 years. A full 1,000 years vanished beneath the canopy without a single soul knowing. You might ask, how do we know it dates back 2,000 years after being buried for 2 millennia? The answer is radiocarbon dating. The principle works like this. All living organisms absorb carbon-14 from the air, which is a radioactive isotope of carbon that decays at a fixed rate, losing about half its amount every 5,700 years. Once an organism dies, absorption stops, but the decay continues. By measuring the remaining proportion of carbon-14 in ancient wood and comparing it to the initial value, you can calculate exactly how many years ago it died. LiDAR tells you where it is, carbon dating tells you when it was, and when these two keys work together, a 2,000-year-old civilization comes alive right before your eyes. Then, a Brazilian did something even crazier. Remote sensing expert Vinicius Peripato applied this method to the entire Amazon basin. He acquired 5,315 square kilometers of LiDAR scanning data for analysis, which sounds like a lot, but the total area of the Amazon is 6 million square kilometers. This 5,315 square kilometers accounts for a mere 0.08%. Yet, within this 0.08%, they discovered 24 massive ancient sites that no one had ever seen before. 24 sites within 0.08%. Extrapolating from this, there are between 10,000 and 23,000 massive ancient ruins waiting to be discovered across the entire Amazon basin, all submerged beneath the forest canopy, unseen and unknown by anyone. Furthermore, Peripato discovered something even more heart-racing. The distribution of these ruins aligns precisely with 53 species of domesticated trees. Translated, this means those ancient people didn't just live in the rainforest, they actively engineered and reshaped it. A certain tree you see today in some remote corner of the Amazon might have been planted by someone's own hands 1,000 years ago. This so-called primitive wilderness actually bears human fingerprints. Speaking of this, there is a legend that must be mentioned. El Dorado, the myth that drove Europeans mad for centuries. In 1542, the Spanish conquistador Orellana left behind an exploration journal of the Amazon, claiming he saw with his own eyes countless villages, fertile farmlands, and large settlements protected by walls. When later explorers followed his route inside, they found absolutely nothing, leading the scientific community to stamp it as a fabricated, untrustworthy boast. Yet, for nearly 80 years, from 1541 to 1617, wave after wave of Europeans threw themselves into the jungle, searching for the legendary city of gold. Gonzalo Pizarro, Sir Walter Raleigh, each name was more famous than the last, but their outcomes were increasingly tragic. They all returned empty-handed, inflicting immeasurable harm on the indigenous populations along the way. Even into the 20th century, people were still searching. British explorer Percy Fawcett staked the rest of his life on it, an obsession born from his repeated study of Orellana's records. He gave the city he was looking for a name, City of Z. Along the way, he only found small villages, but he refused to give up hope. Writing a letter to his wife before setting out, "You need have no fear of any failure." On May 29, 1925, Fawcett stepped into the Amazon for the 8th time and was never heard from again, vanishing completely and never returning. As to whether El Dorado actually existed, the answer lies in Colombia. The name El Dorado comes from the Muisca people of Colombia, an indigenous group that has lived there since around 500 AD and still exists today. In their culture, gold was a symbol of the sacred. Whenever a new chieftain ascended to power, a ritual was held. The new ruler was covered entirely in gold dust and rode out to the center of a sacred lake, where attendants threw golden objects into the water as offerings, and the ruler submerged himself, washing the gold dust into the lake bed to complete the ceremony. This glittering ruler was called El Dorado, the Golden Man, by the Spaniards. A 16th century Spanish chronicler wrote down these accounts, and through centuries of word of mouth combined with European imagination, a sacred ritual was blown up into an entire city paved with gold. It appeared on maps, and everyone hunted for it, finding nothing for hundreds of years because it was never a city to begin with. Then, in 1969, 3 Colombian villagers found a golden raft model in a small mountain cave, which clearly depicted that exact scene. A man covered in gold dust standing on a raft, steering toward the center of the lake. This is the real El Dorado, not a city, but a person, a ritual, and a tribe's expression of the divine. But looking back, was the ultimate reason academia used to deny ancient Amazonian civilizations, poor soil quality, really a fatal argument? No, because the ancient inhabitants of the Amazon manufactured their own soil. This soil has a name, Terra Preta in Portuguese, meaning black earth. It is an anthropogenic product formed by piling up food scraps and organic waste, mixing them with charcoal and wood ash, which over long periods of deposition turned into a highly fertile, carbon-rich, dark soil. This is no lost ancient secret. To this day, indigenous groups like the Kwikuro in the Amazon still use this method, calling it compost pits, passed down through generations. The irony here is thick. Academia claimed civilization couldn't exist because the soil was poor, yet those non-existent ancient peoples invented a soil modification method thousands of years ago, creating earth that is still fertile and used today. Furthermore, this black soil has an unexpected function. It sequesters massive amounts of carbon. This ancient farming practice effectively locked carbon into the ground for hundreds or thousands of years. But here comes the irony. This carbon sequestration system, carefully built by ancient peoples, is now being destroyed by modern humanity. The Amazon's forests and soils store about 150 billion to 200 billion tons of carbon, equivalent to 4 to 5 years of total global carbon emissions. A healthy Amazon is a true carbon sink for the planet, continuously absorbing carbon from the atmosphere. However, by 2019, certain regions of the Amazon emitted more carbon than they absorbed, shifting from carbon-absorbing machines into carbon-emitting ones. From 2019 to 2021, the average annual deforestation area in the Amazon exceeded 10,000 square kilometers. In 2024, wildfires triggered by extreme drought released an estimated 28 billion to 62 billion kilograms of carbon monoxide into the atmosphere from fires alone, 4 times the historical average. If this rainforest continues to shrink, those billions of tons of carbon sequestered for hundreds and thousands of years will return to the atmosphere. Hundreds of billions of tons is not a metaphor. It is literally hundreds of billions of tons, and we barely dare to comprehend the climate consequences behind that number. Now let's talk about the living marvels today. The rate of species discovery in the Amazon is dizzyingly fast. A 4-year dedicated survey by the World Wildlife Fund, WWF, recorded 441 new species within the Amazon rainforest, meaning a new species is added to human knowledge every 3 days on average. In 2024 alone, scientists in the Amazon discovered a headstander fish, a new spiny rat in Peru, 3 new amphibian species, and a new species of anaconda. Named the northern green anaconda, it is currently the largest and heaviest snake species in the world. The world's heaviest snake was just discovered out of nowhere, quietly appearing as if it had been waiting all along for someone to officially open a file on it. Helping scientists locate these, aside from LiDAR, is an even newer technology called environmental DNA, or eDNA. The principle is unbelievably simple: filtering river water. As animals swim in the water, fish, frogs, and land mammals drink from it, traces of their DNA are carried downstream by the current. You pump the river water through a special filter membrane and sequence the DNA, which tells you exactly what animals live upstream. No chasing, no filming, no casting nets. You just sit by the riverbank and collect a bucket of water, and the answers are right inside. In 2026, a team led by aquatic ecologist Caitlin Ramasur from Texas A&M University used this method to track the Amazonian manatee. While this animal populates the Amazon waters, the river is too murky and the creature is too elusive for almost anyone to observe directly. Her team collected water samples along the Amazon River over 13 consecutive days, using a preservative for room temperature storage without any freezing equipment, and successfully extracted manatee DNA at multiple central locations. You don't need to see it, you just need to know it's there. At this point, I must highlight one distinct issue. There are uncontacted indigenous tribes in the Amazon who choose to have no contact with the outside world, and they do not want to be disturbed. This is not backwardness or isolation, it is an active, conscious choice. These people and their lands are a genuinely living homeland, not a mysterious corner waiting to be explored, not a backdrop, and not raw content material. Because of this, the coordinates of sensitive ruins scanned by LiDAR are kept confidential, and the specific locations are left vague. Protecting these communities is not charity, it is basic respect. A saying circulates online that 60% of the Amazon remains unexplored virgin territory. While not entirely wrong, it harbors a deep arrogance. This land may be foreign to outsiders, but to the people living here, it has always been home. Their ancestors planted those trees, manufactured that black soil, built those cities, and preserved their stories through generations of oral history. The lasers and instruments in our hands are like a flashlight, illuminating a fraction of the truth. But just because a place isn't illuminated doesn't mean nothing is there. Perhaps some things retain their most pristine vitality precisely because they remain untouched. Finally, I want you to remember the explorer Fawcett. In 1925, he stepped into the Amazon for the 8th time with his proud words, "You need have no fear of any failure," and vanished into thin air. He thought he was going to uncover a secret, but he didn't know he was actually walking into a realm far deeper, far older, and far more real than he could have ever imagined. A place that simply chose not to tell him its secrets. But today, it has finally spoken, using the language of lasers.